What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. Today we need to talk about the Russia and Ukraine situation because last night Russia just full-on invaded Ukraine, which is bad enough alone, but it's getting even worse. We also got to talk about the spot price of silver reaching and surpassing the $25 an ounce mark, premium excluded. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos, subscribe to my second channel for weekly videos, get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel, come and join us in the Precious Metals VIP Club. I have a giveaway going on that ends on March 1st. Join before then to get entered. And of course, go and get your 2 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. Everything is linked in the description. So today is Thursday, February 24th, 2022. The current spot price of silver as I'm filming the video at 9:30 in the morning is $25.23. It's up 71 cents or up 2.9%. Huge green day for silver. Spot price of gold is $19.52.30. It's up $43.40 or up 2.27%. Huge green day for gold as well. And of course, the gold to silver ratio is in the 77-to-1 range. But again, that's as I'm filming the video, not as I'm editing, posting, or as you're watching. So head on down to the comments and let me know the date and time you're viewing the video and what the current spot price is for you. I'm always curious. All right, so in today's video, we are going to be talking quite a bit about silver and gold, mostly silver, but before we can even get into the money, I think it's important to first talk about the currency and the different markets and what's going on regarding Russia and Ukraine that's affecting the markets so heavily. So, if you haven't already heard, late last night, Russia officially started its full-on invasion of Ukraine. They attacked by land, air, and sea, and so far, dozens of Ukrainian soldiers have already been killed in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. During the live coverage that I was watching, you could hear explosions, gunshots, and air raid sirens in the background. Come to find out, this was the biggest European state-to-state attack since World War II. And as a response, Ukraine is fighting back, but being that Russia's military is so powerful, Ukraine is currently calling for its citizens to help fight for their country, and they're handing out weapons to anyone willing to fight. Ukraine has also declared martial law within the entire country, and depending on what area citizens are in, some are attempting to flee, and some are being advised to stay in their homes for safety. Meanwhile, Russia has initiated strikes against Ukraine's military infrastructure and borders while warning other countries not to get involved. Putin issued a threat to the United States and NATO allies by saying, "Whoever tries to interfere with us, and even more so to create threats for our country, for our people, should know that Russia's response will lead to such consequences that you have never experienced in your history." He then went on to say, "We are ready for any development of events. All necessary decisions in this regard have been made." That was Vladimir Putin before the attack. And so far, as I'm filming the video right now, Russia has already completely destroyed 74 different Ukrainian military facilities, likely more by the time this video comes out. Now, all of this is just beginning to unravel. This is just the start. Last night, we even had 46 calling for a global response. He said, "Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and the United States and its allies and partners will respond in a united and decisive way. The world will hold Russia accountable." That was 46 on Twitter. Obviously, everyone right now is hoping for the best, but a global response against a Russian invasion sounds like something that could very easily turn into World War III. In fact, that's exactly what's being priced in right now, even by the former Prime Minister of Ukraine, who just stated it could be the start of a third world war. We should realize it because Putin will not stop. Now, the markets are not reacting too kindly to what's going on right now, but that's to be expected. Many are anticipating this situation to snowball into something much, much worse. So let's take a quick look at how the stock market is behaving today. We currently have the S&P 500 down 1.86%. We have the Dow Jones down 2.28%, and we have the NASDAQ down 1.74%. Big red day, red across the board. Everywhere you look, almost everything is down. Not to mention, everything has been falling. Everything has been moving in a downward direction. The numbers that we're seeing today, -1, -1.5, -2, negative whatever percent, is pretty much exactly what we saw yesterday and the day before and last week, because all of this going on right now has been being priced in. A lot of people were worried that this was going to happen. A lot of people were expecting this to happen. A lot of people had a very strong feeling that this would take place. So we've been seeing a sell-off. Not to mention we have a whole lot of other issues going on right now. Everything is being priced in, and we're seeing far more people selling than buying. So the market has been falling in a downward direction, but even more so today. The S&P, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, all deeply in the red, and it's only 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning as I'm filming this video. God only knows what the rest of the day or what the rest of this week will bring us. And really quick, by the way, speaking of the stock market, make sure to go and get your 2 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. They're going to give you 2 free random stocks just for doing so. If you refer just one person before the end of the month, they're going to give you a spin on the Webull wheel where you have a chance of winning a free share of Google worth over $2,000. And if you refer 3 people before the end of the month, you are given a guaranteed $150 worth of Apple stock. Time is running out. Those promos end in less than a week. Webull link in the description. But now moving away from that, moving away from Russia and Ukraine, moving away from the stock market, moving away from all of that. Now let's quickly talk about the silver and the gold. So sitting here on display, sitting here in front of me, I have a nice little selection. We have the 5-ounce Aztec calendar round. We have a 1-ounce Westminster bar, a 1-ounce American flag bar, a 10-ounce silver bull bar, which you can't even see because it's covered in gold. We have some Queen's Beasts. We have some Creatures of the North. We have some junk 90% constitutional silver. We have some miscellaneous 1-ounce silver coins right there. Type 1 eagle, type 2 eagle, maple leaf, kangaroo. And then, of course, some fractional gold over there in the corner. 10th ounce Philharmonic, 10th ounce Maple Leaf, 10th ounce Eagle, 10th ounce Britannia, 10th ounce Krugerrand, and a 1/4 ounce Philharmonic. Now, I wanted to talk about the precious metals today, as I do every day, but especially today because of the massive jump we just saw. Silver, as I talked about in yesterday's video, seemed to be sitting pretty securely in the $24 an ounce range. Surprise, surprise. This morning when I checked the spot price, $25.23. Now, if it was just sitting in the $25 an ounce range, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But this is a 2.9% jump for silver. Meanwhile, gold is up 2 1/4 as well. Both precious metals are doing very, very well today. I don't even have the chart for platinum, palladium, or rhodium in front of me, so I can't even tell you what those are looking like right now, but I can pretty much guarantee you they're doing pretty good too. And the reason for this is because bad news is good news for precious metals. The silver and the gold especially, they thrive in chaos. During times of economic hardships, or during times of massive amounts of uncertainty, or during times of war, or during times of inflation, that's when silver and gold typically do the best. Not always, but typically do the best. And we're seeing a lot of things going on in the world right now. Before I even dive back into that, let me talk about very quickly a couple of things that are going on right here in the US. We have 7.5% inflation. We have the next inflation report coming out in about a week, week and a half. God only knows what that is going to look like. Fingers crossed it's not more bad news, but unfortunately, I'm having a really hard time being optimistic about that. In addition to that, we also have a jobs report coming out. That is something that I am actually optimistic about. I went into detail in yesterday's video. You should go and watch that if you want to know my thoughts on the current jobs situation and expectations. But on top of that, we also have the Federal Reserve's meeting coming up March 15th and 16th. They're going to comment on the 16th. They're going to release some information on the 16th, and that's going to be regarding the taper and rate hikes. Now, at the moment, the Federal Reserve, they really push for transparency. They really push for predictability, and that's because they never want to shock the market. They always want to be predictable. They always want to be as transparent as possible, and that's why they're doing everything in their power right now not to let the current state of inflation make them change up their game plan. Because if they change up their game plan, like for example, if they had to end the taper sooner than expected, even if it's just by a week or so, or if they had to raise rates in slightly larger increments, even if it's by 0.5% at a time rather than 0.25% at a time, that would be unpredictable. And that would shock the market, and that would send us into a downward spiral, and that would flip-flop everything. It would just be a disaster. So the Federal Reserve is doing everything in their power right now not to let that happen. But there's still a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt being priced in. A lot of people are right now preparing for the worst. And when it comes to preparing for the worst, especially when it comes to your finances, a lot of people turn to silver and gold, mostly gold. Gold is typically the preferred metal between the two, especially when it comes to the big dogs. When it comes to the little guy, kind of like myself, kind of like probably you, and I would say probably everybody watching this video right now, a lot of people prefer silver. Or a lot of people are about 50-50. They like silver and gold. But for the big dogs, for the people who have millions and millions, potentially billions of dollars in business, stocks, real estate, the list goes on, during times of economic hardships, or during times of inflation, or during times of massive amounts of uncertainty, or during times of war, a lot of these people like to liquidate some of their holdings. A lot of people sell off some of their positions, and they take some of that cash, or they take some of that value, and they inject it into silver and gold, mainly gold, as a form of financial preparation, bracing for impact, preparing themselves, hoping for the best, obviously, but preparing for the worst. This is what a lot of people do. Not everyone. I wouldn't even say the overwhelming majority of these big finance guys, but a lot of people, this is what they do. And I personally believe that's what we're currently looking at right now. We're seeing a lot on the table. There's a lot going on. There's a lot on our plate. Too much on our plate. People don't know what to do. But with inflation being at a 40-year high, being the jobs report for the month of February coming out the very beginning of March, being that the Federal Reserve might be sticking to their game plan or might be changing their game plan. Either way, it's not going to be all that great for the markets. And of course, with everything going on between Russia and Ukraine right now, and potentially soon, the whole world, a lot of people are pricing this in. A lot of people are hesitant. A lot of people are predicting that there will soon be even more economic instability, which is why a lot of people turn to silver and gold, mostly gold, for just a sense of stability during times of massive amounts of instability. This is just what a lot of people like to do. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of people do this when times get tough. People like myself, people like you, if you're watching this video right now, you probably do this before times get tough. You probably stack the silver and gold when times are bad. You probably stack the silver and gold when times are good. That's what I do. Now, of course, depending on what's going on in the world, I might be focusing more or less of my attention on the silver and gold. See, the silver and gold, I consider it a way of financially playing defense. Now, I play defense all year round. I play defense no matter what in the world is going on. But during times where I feel like my team has the ball, and during times where it seems as though more people are afraid to be playing offense, that's when I take it as a hint or a signal that now it's my time to be playing offense. But even if I play offense, I don't stop playing defense. You can't have offense without defense, just like you can't have defense without offense. So there are a lot of people right now moving some of their cash or moving some of their value into silver and gold, as it seems. Which is pretty good news for me, or pretty good news for the people who were already stacking the silver and gold when times were good. Like I said before, I'm stacking the silver, I'm stacking the gold when times are good. I'm stacking the silver, I'm stacking the gold when times are bad. I'm stacking the silver, stacking the gold in between. I stack the silver and gold no matter what in the world is going on. Just like I invest no matter what's going on. Just like I build my brand no matter what's going on. There are forms of offense and there are forms of defense. And I don't think there's ever a time in the world to stop playing offense or defense altogether. Now again, depending on what's going on in the world, it might make more sense to focus more of your attention on playing offense than defense, or vice versa. For example, right now with everything going on, the Russia and Ukraine situation, what is that going to lead to? I can't say with complete certainty. Obviously, it's too early to make any conclusive statements, but this could very well turn into an all-out war. The US is likely to get involved. A lot of other countries are likely to get involved. This could very easily snowball into something far more serious, far bigger and far worse than we can even imagine. Now, that's not what I'm expecting. That's not what I'm predicting. That's not what I personally believe is going to happen, at least not at this time. As the great Chael Sonnen always says, I reserve the right to change my opinion when confronted with new information. But right now, the information that I have in front of me, I don't know if I necessarily see it getting that bad, but it can. And that's what prepping is all about. Hoping for the best, but obviously preparing for the worst. And right now, with the whole Russia and Ukraine situation, if that were to get worse, that's clearly going to disrupt the already disrupted supply chains. Both Russia and Ukraine are crucial when it comes to semiconductors. We're already dealing with a chip shortage. This is going to worsen that. The current state of what's going on over there is already going to worsen that. But imagine if the situation over there gets even worse. Imagine if this were to turn into an all-out war. Imagine if we were to see World War III unravel in front of our eyes like this. That right there is a massive signal to me. That's a red flag being waved in front of my face with somebody screaming, stack the silver, stack the gold. For the love of God, hang on to the precious metals. In my opinion and from my perspective, I think that right there would be probably the greatest time in the world to be playing defense. Why would you not be playing defense during a time like that? That's just how I see it. And that's what I'm using as an example for defense to make more sense than offense. But then when the shoe is on the other foot, it might make more sense to play more offense than defense. It really depends on what stage of the game you're in. It depends on what's going on in the world. It depends on so many different factors. That's why I believe it's important to pay attention to all of the markets, including the markets that you're not personally involved in, or including the markets that you're not even really interested in. For example, I'm not a digital currency guy. I still pay attention to the digital currency market. I love real estate, but I'm not involved in real estate because I don't have the currency to be involved. I still pay attention to the real estate market, which, by the way, with the Federal Reserve meeting coming up in just a couple of weeks, when rates will be going up, it's going to be very interesting to see how big of a toll that takes on the real estate market. Now that borrowing money will start to become more expensive again. Borrowing money will no longer be free. Interest rates were pretty much non-existent for the last year and a half, 2 years. People got used to that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how real estate handles this situation. But regardless, point being is that silver's up by a lot today. Gold's up by a lot as well. And I personally believe it is pretty much all on the Russia and Ukraine situation right now. I think a lot of people are using precious metals as a flight to safety, potentially. Now keep in mind, a lot of people that use precious metals as a flight to safety are short-term people. They use the precious metals as a flight to safety until things get safe again, and then they liquidate some of their holdings, and then they dive back into stocks, or they dive back into real estate, or they put it all back into their business, or I guess depending on the state of the economy, they might have, a larger cash position at that point if they have, more confidence in our currency at the time. Regardless, today, right now, the precious metals are doing very, very well. And I'm very curious to see how they continue to do if the situation continues to snowball. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to witness all of this unraveling right in front of our eyes. Obviously, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, and hoping everything's going to turn out as okay as possible. It's hard to be optimistic during times like these. It's hard to say, like, oh, I hope everything's going to be okay, because obviously it's not okay what's going on right now. Obviously, Ukraine is not doing so hot right now, but hopefully everything turns out to be as okay as possible, as dark as this is right now. But anyway, I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. When it comes to the Russia-Ukraine situation right now, is this something that you expected to happen? Because I know I'd been posting polls the last week or so talking about whether or not people think that Russia's actually going to invade Ukraine, and more often than not, people were voting no. It seemed like the majority of people did not expect this to happen. So now we're seeing it happen in real time. I'm wondering if you were one of the few people who actually did expect this to happen. And not to mention, how are you bracing yourself for impact right now? Are you doing it more so with the silver and gold? Are you focusing on some other investments? What are you doing right now? And obviously, what are your thoughts on the spot price of silver climbing up to and above the $25 an ounce range today? What are your thoughts on that? Head on down to the comments and let me know. If you guys like today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Go and get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel in the biggest possible way. We got t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, coffee mugs in a bunch of different designs. We even have the limited edition, luck has nothing to do with it, t-shirt and hoodie, only available until St. Patrick's Day. Get one while you can, and a portion of the proceeds are going to St. Baldrick's Foundation. DYDSS store will be linked in the description. Come and join us in the Precious Metals VIP Club, which is where I do giveaways every single month. I have one going on right now. Join before March 1st to get entered. Live streams multiple times a week. Deal alerts on silver and gold every single day. You can watch all of my videos early and commercial free. I post adventure vlogs every Saturday morning, and there are a ton of other perks as well. VIP Club link in the description. And of course, last but not least, make sure to go and get your 2 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. They're going to give you 2 free random stocks just for doing so. And then if you refer only 1 friend before the end of the month, they're going to give you a spin on the Webull wheel where you have the chance of winning a free share of Google, which is worth over $2,000 right now. And if you refer 3 people before the end of the month, they're going to give you a guaranteed $150 worth of Apple stock for free. If you don't want the stocks, get them anyway, sell them, and then you have some currency to go and get you some silver and gold if you want. Time is running out. You only have less than a week left. Webull link in the description. And I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know once again, what are your thoughts regarding this whole Russia and Ukraine situation? Is this what you expected? Is this what you were anticipating? Did this catch you off guard? Did this surprise you? And of course, now that it's actually happening, whether you thought it was going to happen or not, how are you bracing for impact right now? Do you believe that this is going to snowball into something much, much worse? Do you believe that this is going to further disrupt the already disrupted supply chain? Do you think that this is going to cause even more inflation? Do you think that this is going to cause even more problems? And of course, do you think this is going to turn into potentially some form of a World War III, potentially? And then, of course, when it comes to the silver and the gold, what are your thoughts on the pretty big jump today? Silver's up 2.9%, gold is up 2.2 something percent right now. Spot price of silver made its way back into the $25 an ounce range, premium excluded, of course. What are your thoughts on that right there? Do you believe that this is going to continue? Do you believe that we're going to see the price continue to rise? Do you think it's going to fall back down? Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.